Bruce Eberts grew up in Northern Ontario before heading south to Hamilton to attend McMaster University and study occupational therapy. He successfully owned and operated a healthcare company, which he has since sold, and is now living a life of semi-retirement, where his family and friends have been encouraging him to put his storytelling to paper. And you've been quite prolific since then with a couple of books we're going to talk about this morning. Thanks for joining us, Bruce.
Oh, thanks for having me, Bob.
When did your passion for writing start?
Well, I think I've always had stories in my head that I wanted to put down on paper, but I guess, like you say, when I had some semi-retirement hours on my hands, I was able to put pen to paper or keyboard to screen, and yeah, the first book came out of Drip Castle.
Drip Castle and the follow-up, just out now, Liquid Moon. Give us the quick synopsis on both books, how they connect, and where the idea came from.
Well, yeah, exactly. I grew up in Northern Ontario, two small towns of Red Lake and Ear Falls, and I never set foot in Southern Ontario until I came down to University at McMaster. I met my beautiful wife, Diana, and I stayed. But I always thought it was a great setting for a story, and that's where Drip Castle came about. It's about a fellow named Rick Torson who he wants to take his mother to Mexico to cure her MS, and he decides the way to pay for that is he's going to steal a twin-engine Cessna that is full of gold bars from the local gold mine, and that doesn't go quite as planned. And the plane does crash, and the gold goes missing, and all sorts of people come out of the woodwork to try and find the gold, and the book Drip Castle was supposed to be a bucket list. It was supposed to be a one-off, and I was going to cross it off my list. But the interesting thing about that is I started getting all these emails and contacts about the characters in the book, and you'd be surprised at how people can drill down on characters.
Did they recognize themselves?
Well, yeah, that was one of my worries. But according to my lawyer, everything is fiction. So I stayed with that. And yeah, so that got me thinking with all these questions. I thought, okay, there is a measure of interest here. And I said, here's a sequel. And that's how Liquid Moon came about.
Okay, do we find out where the money is?
Well, there was a twist at the end of Drip Castle, and that had to do with the whereabouts of the gold, and that continues on into Liquid Moon, and there's another twist at the end of Liquid Moon. Yeah. But I'm hoping that sort of settles the matter. I'm hoping that people know what happened to the gold at that point.
But there's great insider stuff on how gold is transported as well. And not to give anyone ideas, but...
Yeah, well, I did do research for both books. And, I phoned local police stations, the OPP. I talked to them how they investigate various crimes. I talked to flight schools about the Cessna, how, payload, how far it can fly. But I think the most interesting conversation I had was with a fuel delivery truck driver. And I said, how many liters per minute can be, pumped out of the tank? How would you fill up a twin-engine Cessna? And I said, especially if you're in a rush. And at the end of the conversation, he said to me, so what are you up to? I said, no.
All of a sudden, you're on the radar, Bruce.
Yeah, I said, no, it's okay. It's just about a book.
Yeah. And, hey, by the way, before we go, so in Liquid Moon and Drip Castle as well, so set in Northern Ontario, and the jukebox, there's some Easter eggs with every Canadian band we know and love in the book.
Yeah, I purposely did that. I tried to keep as much Canadiana in it as I could in both books. And a lot of the bands that are mentioned, whether in a bar or there's a song on the radio, it's a reference to a Canadian band. I used, Canadian words that might be expected, like toque and pickerel and Mickey. And,
something we can all identify with. Hey, we got to go, Bruce, but we're going to link up your website. So it's a companion series here. We encourage Morning Live viewers to get both Drip Castle and Liquid Moon. And continued success. Continue writing.
Thanks very much, Bob.